Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all. Geeky Zav in chat as always. Good to see you too. Hope you're both keeping well. Today we have another GT3 race, another hour-long GT3 race I should say, around the home of Ferrari. It is of course the Temple of Speed, Monza. So just give me a moment as I'm a little rushed this evening. Yes, weekend is just beginning. And we can switch over here. Hello everyone, welcome. We've got a bit of free practice for now. I've got another 23 minutes, so until about 7:30 here. past, and then 15-minute quali, and then a then a 16-minute race. Yes, a bit of practice. Now, yesterday, completely forgot about the handicap ballast stuff. Here is the handicap I was talking about. You can see all the cars. So you can see the 296 Ferrari has plus 6 kilos. Here. Porsche 992 is -4. M4's -2. McLaren has plus 39 kilos. So yeah, a bit of bob just to try and balance things out. But I haven't done any practice yet, so let's go and get a few laps done. That is a great example of how not to do T1 here at Monza from the car in front. We'll just try and get a few laps under our belt. Welcome, Zav. Was racing yourself? Hope you were enjoying your racing. Aye, but Kiki, if they do that in the race, it will matter. I don't think they slowed down enough to not pick up a cutting penalty. Huh. Well done, Zav. Yes, very important not to get any penalties. That in qualifying doesn't matter too much either. You know, you can get away with it. Yeah, I mean, you just need to be a decent driver in general. You know, you don't even need to be, you know, decent drivers will have you better than the average Forza player. I mean, there's nothing stopping you, Geeky. Except you'll just have no force feedback. One thing we do have to bear in mind is, I probably should have mentioned before we left our pit box, is the session times. And I mean the in-game times. Currently it is about 10 past 10 in the morning that this session for practice started. Qualifying, I think, was noon, and the race is then at 4 PM. So of course not only will the sun be shifting around, shadows shifting around as well. But the temperature will also be changing. So we can see at the moment is 23 degrees ambient, 26 track temp. Yeah, so the temps will fluctuate. It'll definitely be warmer for qualifying and might cool back down to similar temps in practice for the race. Let's not hit that curb, ideally. You only need a few more years of practice and experience. I know for rain there's 3 settings that you need to consider. The first is weather randomness. If it is at 0, there is no randomness and the weather will just be a constant, whatever you have it set as. And then you could go up to like 8 or 10 for the randomness, and the higher the number, the more variable the weather will be. The more it will change, the more drastic those changes will be. And so if you have a race set, the second value is the rain value, if you set the rain value to 0, there will be no rain unless the randomness is 4 or higher. If the weather is 4 or higher, then it can start to rain even if the rain value is 0. The higher the rain value, the wetter it is. And then you can do micro adjustments to how heavy the rain is with the cloud level, which will also have an impact on the temperature, of course. Less cloud equals more sun and a higher track temp. More cloud, less sun, lower track temp. But also, more cloud means more rain. Less cloud, less rain. You know, so if you're wanting to make the rain a little bit lighter, but not too much lighter, you might reduce the rain value by 0.1, 0.2, and then you might increase the cloud level by 0.1 or 0.2. Another thing to bear in mind with ACC weather is it's not completely random. It will effectively make like a generation based on your settings. And if it's sort of a variable weather pattern, it will kind of work like a sine graph, where it will rain for X amount of time, then stop raining for X amount of time, or stop raining for Y amount of time, and then start raining for X amount of time again. And you'll find that there's a clear, distinct pattern in it, which isn't ideal. It does mean the weather becomes predictable when you realize what this pattern is for any given setting. But generally, you can put your weather settings through, there are a couple of online websites that will try and simulate what your weather conditions will be, which will help you realize what adjustments you might want to make, help you try and find the settings that you're looking for, or the settings you need to give you the conditions you're looking for. But then, you know, if you have a long race, you know, a 24-hour race, you can find that, the weather, by the second half of the race, everyone knows what the weather is going to do, because it's predictable, even if the rain is starting and stopping, like, every hour or two. Starting to find the limit for the braking into turn 1. Also looking at our tire pressures, we've got a little bit of an offset from front to rear and also left to right. So front tires are a couple of PSI higher than the rears, and then the left sides are also a couple PSI, or a couple of clicks, I should say, higher than the right hand side. So that's something to consider any adjustments that we want to make. That's a good chicane that time.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
A little bit on the deep side there. I feel like I'd like a little more front end from the car, to be honest. Just feels a slight bit on the understeery side.
There's a slow car behind. Well done, mate. Fastest lap so far.
Also bear in mind, Gigi, you wouldn't be running the same bop
Yellow flag. Be careful there.
spending a little bit of time here as the session goes on, probably helped by the track switching to optimum and maybe getting a little bit warmer as the tyres are on the cooler side.
Yellow flag ahead. Be careful.
Just misjudged the positioning on the curb, following the Lambo. It's starting to slide around a little. But we know we've got another few tenths in the time, and this is a race run. Whereas some other people could be doing quali practice. As I always say, it's always good to practice pit entry, so we'll do that at the end of this lap since practice is coming to an end soon.
Yellow flag, be careful. Slow car ahead. Yellow flag in sector 3. Got some line damage in front of the car.
Just a case of both of us went the same way to try and avoid the incident. Now it doesn't really matter, we're just going to be practicing a pit entry here. Nicely done. Maybe a little far? Yeah, a little far.
Mandatory.
Love why we've got 3 sorries in the chat. That's very promising. Now let's look ours up. 2.92 litres a lap. We'll make that 2.95. Tyres front left was a little high. Definitely bring that down by 1. Bring these up by 1. Yeah, I think try those adjustments. Also got to bear in mind it'll be different temperatures for qualifying the race. Bob, you can see here it's a per car basis, so if you see like plus 39 kilos for this McLaren, then all McLarens, like this one, these two, all have the same. Ferrari that we're in has 6 kilos. Lambo has 15 kilos, Geeky. So not great for you. Then a couple of cars, the Porsche is -4, the BMW has -2. Mercedes +14. Audi has +12. So you can see in the base game, McLaren is quite strong. So it is. Yeah, he would. Oh, Forza. I'm just saying here. Forza Turn 10 have just shared what is coming in Update 4 for Forza Motorsport, which includes Daytona.
Green light, go, go, go.
Which is nice. Yeah, we are geeky, but I'm just reading this. And for Update 4, this version is focused on new content, so only contains minor fixes for car and track content compared to our previous updates. When in the last week, a number of racing communities that use Forza, that focus on Forza, I should say, have said, no, we're done, we're not doing events until some bugs are fixed. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, shout it loud and clear, Sav, it's true. It is true. Right, it is time to get going. Let's not wait too long, otherwise we'll get caught in traffic. Actually, I just realized I forgot to change fuel. Awkward. So, yeah, we said about 3 liters a lap. We'll say 6, so we'll go 19 liters. Keep everything else the same. Yeah. Oh, and about Daytona, there's already complaints being made that about the pit exit. It seems like, I haven't looked into this enough, so don't quote me on any of this, but it looks like once again Forza is not using the correct pit exit and instead throwing cars onto the racing line into turn 1. Yeah. I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, moving away from Forza again, time for qualifying. Track is up to 30 degrees C. I do have to say there is a lot of cloud cover. You know, it has got very dark for what is meant to be noon. Crucially, we've got a lot of free space. We've got plenty of seconds both in front and behind us. We've got the time for about 5 flying laps, which should give us enough attempts to get a good lap in. Yep, 150.41. Oh, for the Parabolica. For the Parabolica, I'll talk about it when we get there in a moment. Because it's not one of those simple zones that's like, alright, brake at this exact marker. It's, right, you use this marker, but you brake like a moment later. So you've got this big board here, then you've got the 100, and we're braking just after that. So by a car length or two after the 100 board, which you can easily pick out by the bigger sign that's across the track. Start off with the 50 at 5. That, by the way, is by a second. By 8 tenths quicker than we went in practice.
Slow car ahead.
And there's probably more time to find.
Yellow flag is set to 3.
You especially realise how useful braking markers are when someone has driven into them and knocked it somewhere else, and it's just gone. Now that was a bit silly from the car ahead. They waited until the final corner to let me past, by which they've completely ruined this lap that they are now starting. I even give them a flash down the back straight to tell them, hey, you should probably let me through here. I think I just slid a rear wheel into the gravel there. finding time going into T1, but losing the time again on the exit of the chicane.
Yellow flag accepted.
Finding a bit of time through the second chicane. And through the two Desmos. Go pick up a little bit of slipstream on the run to the line here. 48.2. Now it's not allowed to overtake someone when they're on a hot lap and disrupt their lap, so we're going to have to back off here. So currently sitting in P10, just over half a second off of the pole time. Though we do have a 10th and a half to find if we want to make up any more positions. As things currently stand. I think I'm just going to back off, let these cars go, and get myself in big clear air, sort of sandwiched between a certain group, a couple of slower cars, which just makes it difficult to find space to be able to push. We only have one more lap of fuel left. Let's try and this is the 296 Gigi. Good run through first chicane. There's 210s. Now to not lose a quarter of a second throughout the lap. Losing a 10th there through the second chicane. Gained it back through the first let's move, but lost half of it through the second. So down to about 1.5 tenths up as we enter a scary chicane. Losing a couple more hundredths there. Now just the powerball good to go. gaining time in, but losing it on the exit as the rear end slid out. We're still going to gain a 10th on our best lap, which, as I mentioned earlier, isn't enough to improve our position.
Yellow flag is
And that is us out of fuel. So that will be our lap. So gaining just a 10th there, not enough for any positions, but as people finish their final laps, it may just help us hold on to P10. Quick look at our sectors there. Yeah, we had 800ths in the second sector, another 800ths in the second sector. So we had about 1.5 tenths left in the lap, which would have got us P8 up an extra row. Yeah, just hitting all your points, your braking points, your apexes, not scrubbing off too much speed, but not carrying too much speed in. It's a very fine margin, especially when every lap the conditions are technically slightly different. You know, your tires are one lap, have one more lap of wear on them, but the car's lost 3 litres of fuel, so it's a few kilos lighter. As someone is pull times down to 47.2. Pole position now. Gap to pole to P2 is half a second. I think I know who's winning this race. But as the final cars come across the line, we'll hold 10th place. We didn't even need that final lap in the end. It would have been nice to be a couple of positions higher up, but big thing now is T1. T1 at Monza can always be carnage, and this is no exception. This may not be any exception. We have 30 cars, not a full grid, but a decent grid. Nothing to be disappointed by. Hopefully, it is cleaner than last time. Let's do our fuel calculations, since I haven't done them yet. We've got 2 minutes to do them. Right, so our race, 3600. Our lap time is a sort of 147.5, let's say. So that's 107. Hang on a sec. Help if I press divide. 107.5. So 33, probably 34. We'll say 34 to be safe. Times are 2.95 is 100.3 litres. We'll put in 102 litres. Or 103 litres. 102 litres and put 1 litre of fuel in for a mandatory pit stop, in which we must refuel at least 1 litre. It is not a fixed refueling length, so we don't have to be concerned about that. Temperature is still 30 degrees C, which is a bit of a surprise, to be honest, now at 4 PM compared to noon. Though I suppose the cloud cover meant that the track temp hasn't peaked as much as it otherwise normally would. So we'll keep the same. I'm actually going to put 0.1 psi in. In the race, you tend to run a little bit slower, and because of that, the tires do cool down a little bit more and the pressures drop a little bit, and I think I've seen them just on the slightly lower end during qualifying. So we'll wait here. Nope, no tires. Just making sure we have the pressure set correctly.
30 seconds.
Just in the off chance we need to take tires, you never know. You never know.
20 seconds. 10 seconds.
10-second mark being called. We'll hit drive.
Stay single file.
So just getting heat into the brakes. Trying to let that heat radiate into the tyres. I like we can switch the dash page to just delete some info on it. Yeah, we're on the outside for turn 1. Maybe a blessing, maybe a curse. Depends where the incident starts. Hopefully, the incident just doesn't start. But that is like asking for a miracle here at Monza. Especially when you have such a wide range of skill and experience across the field. I mean, ultimately, if someone gets spun across the entire track, they're across the entire track. If someone gets hit towards the apex of T1, they'll probably fire, into the person on the inside, and that person gets fired into the person on the outside. It's... When it comes to racing, anything can happen. It is, that is why AI is terrible for stewarding and making there's because there's an infinite number of possibilities. You're never going to train an AI to be able to you're never going to be able to train an AI for all the possibilities. I've kind of let our brakes go a bit cold again, so just need to get them up to temperature and try and get a little bit more heat into the surface. As you can see, they're quite cold.
Go in double file.
So we've got a little bit of temperature in the tyres, not a lot, compared to where they start off out of the tyre oven or tyre blankets, whoever is used to heat up GT3 tyres. I think they use ovens in for GT3. As we wait patiently, tyres just getting ever cooler. Not much we can do about that now.
Green line, go.
Drive-through penalty for someone off start. It's an average start. Looks like a couple of cars around us have a bit more acceleration. Hopefully this Porsche doesn't cut in front of us.
Clear on the right. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
I was going to say clean start so far, then I've seen a McLaren spinning off on the inside. Looks like there's been a bit of an incident further back in the pack, but it's been very clean for us. Got to cover the inside line from the Ferrari behind us as they've got a bit of a run.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
Car's been spun in front.
Car on the right.
Accidentally tagged one of the cars as everyone concertinaed up.
Car on the right. Clear on the right. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Have an Audi trying to go up our inside. Has turned into us. But now we have to move on from the dramas of the second chicane and focus on our race. As more cars are going spinning at the Parabolica here. Everyone got through turn 1 and was like, we can't be having this clean of a race. We'll try and nip a bit of slipstream off the McLaren ahead, but fortunately it's ducked in behind the other Ferrari that we're trying to get alongside of.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Someone missed the braking zone for turn 1.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Picked up a little bit of damage. About 3 seconds worth. So we'll just start to settle into this race, see whereabouts our pace lies. See if we can keep up or maybe even put the Ferrari in front under some pressure. Now there is a pit window for the mandatory stop, so we'll have to wait for that to open before we think about heading to pit lane. I would tell you when it opens, but to be honest, I don't know when it opens myself. just about matching the Ferrari in front on lap time that lap. Too much carb there on the second apex. Certainly using all of the track in this little group. Surprised I didn't get a off track for the exit of Lesmo 1. So there's a brief yellow flag behind us. Turn off our damage repair. It's not worth the nearly 4 seconds that it is. There's the pit window opening. Looks like there's a bit of a pack fighting up ahead. There's a bit of time in those fights starting to come towards us. Hello Martin, good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday yourself. Yes, all important to stay hydrated. One good thing about Monza is that straights are long enough that you've got some good opportunities to do so. We can see the fighting up ahead is getting quite intense. I don't think any one of the 4 cars in front of us there hit the apex for the Parabolica. This is the sort of battle that does make you question, is it worth coming in, taking that mandatory pit stop early? But then you gotta remember, you'll probably come out in... Ooh, that was close. A little close for comfort there, to be honest. But I'm saying about pits, you gotta remember, you'll probably come out in slower traffic and get held up just as much, if not more. Though if it wasn't clear enough from qualifying, this is just showcasing that just showing how likely the leader is to run away for this race, as Ferrari there slides it off the AstroTurf, bins into the wall after a bit of contact at the second chicane. That has broken this group up a bit now. Try and stay tucked into the slipstream.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
You can see on our delta gaining us a decent bit of time, but we've got remember to consider that in our braking point. Remember, in the slipstream, braking just isn't quite as efficient. You don't have quite as much downforce or airflow slowing the car down. Getting onto the grass ourselves a little bit. Just staying close enough to get a little bit of slipstream.
Losing target car front in sector 2.
Both of us closing in on the two cars in front of us. Per run for the Ferrari out of first chicane. We'll pull out to the inside. Not far enough alongside to do anything. I think there's three of us there that just dipped wheels into the grass. Trying to carry as much speed as we can through Lesmo 2. You can see Ferrari in front really pushing, trying to extract as much as they can out of the Ascari chicane. McLaren's had an issue. Spun off to the inside. Manages to keep it out of the wall. And gets going by a second behind us. Didn't see if that was just a mistake they made on their own or if they were assisted by the Porsche. That does give us P4 for now. Rear end massively stepping out there through Lesmo 1. Rear end just sliding all over the place through Ascari. Seems to be our struggle at the moment, just rear end not staying in check. Ferrari's starting to pick up the pace to try and chase down the Porsche. McLaren look to be struggling for traction over the first chicane on the rear view screen. McLaren nearly lost on the exit of Lesmo 2 there. They're really pushing. Just struggling to match the pace of the cars in front of us. As you can see, cars around us just selling into doing mid to low 48s. I'm struggling to even stay in the 48s myself. Well, that's just a bit silly now, wasn't it? Also thinking about the pit window and the mandatory pit stop we have to take. Pit window opens 7.5 minutes into the race, therefore it will close with 7.5 minutes remaining in the race. So we've about 30 minutes to make our pit stop. McLaren really dropping back that lap. But we also set a good lap there. New personal best. Like, to be honest with you, I don't know where that pace came back from. But if we can keep it up, maybe we'll just be able to open a gap again. Also, leader hasn't driven away as much as I fear they would have. We're only 7.5 seconds behind them currently. Could see them entering the parabolica there. Matching lap times that lap with McLaren. car almost tried to snap away from me through the Ascari chicane on the curb. But McLaren is picking up the pace again. Starting to reel us in. McLaren back within half a second. Can see McLaren carried quite good speed out of Ascari there. Just closing in with the slipstream. McLaren dived for pit lane. I think the Porsche did as well, that was in front of us. Yep, the number 27 Porsche. So we'll keep an eye on them, see where they come out on track, what traffic they may have to contend with.
Keep it up.
27 is out of pit lane. Looks like it has a lot of clear air, but maybe a car right behind it.
Yellow flag out. Watch out. Slow car ahead.
Number 10 has come out of pit lane. It looks like it had a longer stop. Maybe repaired some damage, took on more fuel. I don't think they were in. Maybe they did change tires. In which case they have a lot of time to make up. And as we have very little traffic at the moment, I feel we're best staying out. Also, gap to the leader is slightly shrunk. It's now only about 6 seconds. 6.5. It was 7.5 earlier. Yeah, it's one of the ratings that can car control for CC that just jumps around a lot, isn't very consistent itself. Ferrari up ahead, dives to pit lane. So we tuck into the slipstream of this car we're about to lap. Hopefully they don't make it too difficult to pass.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
I braked at my normal spot. But I think I just went in a little bit deep, being off the racing line. No time gained though, which I'd certainly agree with looking at my delta. Losing more time there. Of course, Ferrari did nothing wrong, just our own mistake, our own misjudgment. Slipstream effect, yep, probably a bit too. You'd have to compare the speed at the braking point, see if we had an extra 1 or 2 kilometers an hour. I might need to settle down, try and get back into rhythm. Lost a second and a half this lap, which can't keep doing it. One of the lapped cars behind us on track has got drive through for track limits. So as we've got plenty of clear air in front of us, I see no reason to pit. We'll just carry on as is. Also keeps the mystery of not knowing where we are relative to everyone else that has pitted. Rear tires are definitely struggling a little bit. Car is sliding around quite a bit. Front tires seem alright. Just check. So still 3.6 seconds of damage from the first lap. Doesn't appear that we got any damage from when the McLaren was looking for a gap that didn't exist.
Yellow flag accepted.
And we were about keeping pace with the leader that lap, which is always a good comparison. But we do technically want to try and make up a little bit of time that we lost in lapping the Ferrari that's behind us. So with 20 minutes left of the race, we still have 12.5 minutes till the pit window closes. There definitely won't be any point in repairing what damage we do have. We're just starting to set some consistent lap times in the 48.9s. A little deep into the first chicane. If we can keep up the 48.9s, I'll be quite happy, to be honest.
There's a slow car ahead.
Definitely struggling for a little bit of pace through the Lesmos. Just can see how the Delta swings. Seems like leader's lost a bit of time behind a lapped car. There goes a consistency streak, but let's see if we can get back on it. 27 has made a mistake. So has the 38, which I don't know if it does occur, we'd be fighting for position. So it looks like we might not be losing as many places when we travel through pit lane as we might have been expecting. I can tell you this now, the race isn't going to go to 34 laps, it'll stop at 33. So we'll be safe for fuel. '27 has had another crash at the Ascari chicane. are starting to catch a lapped car, which is making me considering pitting a little earlier than we have to. Do you want to keep pushing the boat out there for how we pit? Maybe risking the encounter and some time lost with the lapped car, or play it safe and pit early, but risk coming out of pit lane into other traffic that we could have avoided. We'll go one more lap. But they are about 1.5 seconds slower. Our pit strategy is ready. Crash for another car at the Ascari chicane. We're not that far from pit window anyway, so I'm agreeing with Geeky. I think we just pit. Not necessarily let us through right here, right now, which they might do.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
They do a little awkwardly. But we're through, so we'll stay out. It depends if we come out ahead of the 973 or behind them. I think whether we do or not depends on how good our pit stop is. If we have a really good pit entry and stop right on our marks, we possibly could. If we don't, we are, I'd say, are more likely to come out behind. Leader has head into pit lane, so we'll get to lead a lap. BMW completely missed their braking zone, which is quite frustrating as it costs us just over a second having to avoid that. And I've been watching the McLaren behind us, and they've been having a little bit more pace than us, so we'll probably just pit to not risk anything. But we need a clean stop here. Car sliding around a lot. This McLaren can go around the outside if it wants to have the position.
Clear on the left.
We're going to head for pit lane anyway. Fingers on our ignition and starter button ready. It'll be a short stop, only 3.2 seconds. Let's make sure we hit our marks. Bang on, straight up. Track temp has also dropped down to 28 degrees. Looks like another car is coming in. There's the 200. Taking the lead and will come out comfortably in second place. Not even challenged. And all those cars, I mentioned, I don't know if we're, I can't remember if I mentioned it, but of course they could have been lapped cars, and they are lapped cars. We're not even fighting any of them. There's pit window closed now, so that was probably our last lap to take the stop anyway. We have gained a little time on the leader, we're only about 5.5 seconds behind them. I definitely did not expect to be this close to them this far into the race with the pace they had in qualifying, but very messy sky chicane there. But yeah, race pace is, quality pace is one thing, being quick over one lap, but having the consistency to do it lap after lap in a race is completely different. Although that being said, I actually don't remember if that was the pole sitter. The pole sitter could have actually been involved in a lap 1 incident that took them out. And this is just someone that was second, third, you know, someone else in the top 5 of the grid managed to stay out of trouble and is going to take the win. Saying that they're the pole sitter could be a very poor assumption for me. We've 19 seconds to the car behind, the 599 Porsche. Now with the lap 1 second chicane incident, we do want to try and keep that gap as big as we can, preferably over 15 seconds. So we want to keep pushing. The car has got quite unstable these last couple of laps. Does look like they are going to meet lapped traffic though, which might help us keep that gap. Not only that, they have another car that's just by a second behind them, the number 17 Lambo. You can just see at the bottom of the relative. That's probably putting a little bit of pressure on them. Which, as they pass some lap cars soon enough, which they will do, they are 2 seconds a lap quicker than them. As we have 3 laps to go here. You know, could put them into another battle. They start slowing each other down. Just clipping the grass there as we go into the second chicane. Ah, pole sitter was that Lambo. Yeah, so I'll maybe have another little look at the start after the race, see what happened to them. But thanks for checking, Zav. Can see on the relative, Porsche and the Lambo have caught the lapped traffic. And knowing that that Lambo is the pole, or was the pole sitter I should say, does mean that they probably have a bit more pace to catch the Porsche. But under pressure, try and get back onto the podium, which I'm sure they'll desperately want, having started the race from pole. They're past the lap traffic now, but only 3 or 4 tenths separate the two of them. So Lambo is definitely close enough to put the Porsche under pressure. As the engineer says, leader starts final lap. As do we. Looks like they're side by side. Looks like Lambo is making a move for the final podium position. As I slightly outbrake myself for the first chicane. Lambo has got past the Porsche, but maybe the Porsche is coming back down start finish straight with a bit of slipstream. I'll tell you what, we'll have a look back at that battle on the replay. But for now we've got to get our head down, make sure we don't lose too much more time. We want to make sure we have that 15-second gap at least, which we should have. I don't expect the Lambo to gain 2 seconds on us in the final, in just 2 sectors. But for that we've also got to make sure we don't make a mistake. With how this car's been sort of snapping around and the rear end sliding about, is always possible. But just 1 corner to go now into the Parabolica. C curb, just getting on the curb slightly, unsettling the car there. But as we come across the line, it will be P2 in what was quite a chaotic race to start with. T1 kind of give us some false hope that this could be a really clean, really good race. The rest of the first lap did not go that way, for sure. But then as things spread out, it calmed down. We had a good race it seemed like others made mistakes, got caught up in incidents, and that eventually led us to take P2. I don't actually have the fuel to complete on a lap, so we'll just park up here, return to garage. Finishing off 7.7 seconds behind the leader, 17.7 in front of P3. Make sure we save the replay, as we're going to have about 26 people finish the race. Let's just have a little look at the tyres. Oh, we actually had moderate graining on the fronts. Rear tyres weren't damaged at all, but you can see with the sledding around they had a lot more wear, down to 2.0 compared to the 2.2 on the front left, 2.4 on the front right. But there we have confirmation of the final results. It is a McLaren down in P15, the number 185 that got fastest lap, interestingly. We saved the replay, so let's go have a little look at that before we, of course, as per tradition pretty much, complete the daily event on Art of Rally. So first of all, let's enable that part of the HUD. So we can look back at what happened around us that we didn't quite see from the cockpit. Let's head into turn 1. Lambo missed T1. They missed T1. Looks like they got a good start here. And it just forgot to brake for turn 1. You can see the McLaren here is closing up, and this is a McLaren that gets involved in an instant, as they were behind us before we made our pit stop. They're braking here by the 150 board. Lambo's completely forgot to brake, maybe just looking in their rear view mirror, looking behind them at their radar, and doesn't start braking here until about the 100 board. You can tell by the downshifts they've realised they've messed up. They are spamming down those gear shifts. And it's like, yeah, you're not making. They go round the bollards. They give up the lead of the race. So they give up any time gained. Then, hang on a second. That looks. It's 185. What's happened here? The 185 lifts off to give them the position. Interesting. I don't know if that's so they can argue that, oh, that Lambo like overtook us off track, they gained an advantage. And here's where the incident starts. Oh, that's awkward. Yeah, so instant starts with the 24 and the 49. I can tell you here, the 49 is braking where you do in a hot lap. Oh, they make contact with each other as well. And from that, the Ferrari just isn't able to slow it down. Spins the 185, which also runs into and spins the 17. And then if we skip a little further forward on, I want to say this is where this instant starts. Porsche looks up the inside. Oh, no, that's not where the instant starts. This BMW. Oh my god. So braking point for this corner is about here. The BMW is not braking here and instead trying to brake just before the 50 board to send it on this Ferrari. Ferrari sees it coming, turns out of the way. You know, good awareness there. BMW's not slowing down at all, just into the back, takes out two cars. That is abysmal. Oh dear. This Porsche spun, then drives forward straight into someone else. Oh dear God. Don't drive back onto the track at that angle. Yes, we finally used our brain cell to, right, let's reverse and actually rejoin this track in a safer manner. Dear God. I, I'm actually, now I want to go back and look at myself for the first lap. So coming up to T1, this Porsche, I was hoping to get alongside this Porsche, but they covered off the gap, so we're safe. Oh! So all these cars missed turn 1, including the 185 McLaren. So that probably explains why they lifted off. They didn't want to take the lead when they also missed T1. That's... So T1 was probably only reason turn 1 was clean was because the entire top 5 didn't even make it. They cut the chicane. They just spin it by themselves, I gotta say. Or did they spin rejoining? They cut the chicane. Yeah, they spin off the curb. Oh well. So yeah, things have spread out a little bit, but as we know, some people take that spreading out as a sign to lose any caution. Now, the thing that probably doesn't help my case in this incident, really doesn't, is sort of this moment here, where I'm only about 70% on the brake. I'm not full brakes. In the moment, as looking at the cars behind me, I've seen them coming quite close. As like, I just want to lift off the brakes slightly to make sure they don't run into me. And then I look up in front and I say, oh, this concertina, I need to slow down more. Let's have a look. Yeah, this Ferrari, at a point where you would usually be releasing the brake to carry speed through the corner, they're still heavy on the brake. And at that point, I'm just not able to slow down. So yeah, they're down at 31 miles per hour. I'm up at 40. I don't think 40 is an unreasonable speed to be taking this corner. Even in lap 1, I mean, we can compare it to lap 2. But just because that instant up ahead, they started backing off. I didn't back off enough. Yeah, I'm at fault there. It's not up to me to decide what sort of penalty that would be. To take a racing lap, here we are on the apex, 61 miles per hour. We're already 20 miles per hour under the normal sort of minimum speed. Well, I say minimum speed, sort of first apex speed. Maybe we're in a little bit deep and a little bit tight for the second part of the chicane, but our minimum speed was still 57 miles per hour. You know, so yeah, you maybe could say racing incident. It's a hard one for us to judge because naturally we're going to be biased. We've got a perspective. We've got our own perspective. Well, sorry, our own perspective is involved in the incident, and as such, we're always going to be a little bit biased. That's just trying to be as neutral as I can be. Other things that we're going to look at here is the final lap. Let's put it back up to normal speed between 17 and the 599. So we've seen what happened on lap 1. Let's see what happened on the penultimate lap for the 17 to reclaim the podium. Porsche looks like it got quite unsettled there over the curbs. Got poor exit out of the Ascari chicane. Lamborghini closes up in the slipstream. We'll check. They started lap 2 in 21st. So that is really good recovery drive from them, you've got to say. really good to get back onto the podium. And yeah, able to brake later on the outside, pull out in front. But you can see the Porsche got a much better exit from just not carrying as much speed in. Come on, guys. No need for that little door banging. But it's neck and neck here. Looks like the Lambo just has a slight bit more top speed as they head towards the braking zone. Porsche tries to brake slightly later to hold it around the outside. Isn't quite able to do so. Nearly clips bumper to bumper contact. But they're able to just back off in time. Have to concede the position as they go into the final lap, which is probably quite disappointing from them. But when you consider that Lamborghini got pulled by half a second, it was probably inevitable. You can't be too disappointed, I would say. Yeah, that Lambo probably on a mission. It'd be an interesting race to watch back from their perspective, I imagine. But with that said, I don't think there's anything else worth looking at. I'll give anyone a minute. If there's something you want me to go back and find in the replay, I can do so. I'm just going to have a little look at the Discord, see if anyone is saying anything. The 666, second chicane, I assume lap 1? Looks like 666 started the race from pit lane. So they did. And as you can imagine then, they spent... Huh. The 666 was late to join the race. Because we're starting the third lap with this Mercedes that's at the back of the field. And they're just coming out of pit lane to start the race. So, or, hang on. They were there for the start. They just RTG'd. Yeah, let's have a look at their start then. Yeah, they did teleport. You can see just how much it concertina is. There's the people that go round. McLaren's just driving into the side of us, which is very frustrating. That. Oh, you planker. Oh, dear. What McLaren is that? 97. Right, time to shame the 97. Funny enough, they only did 4 laps of the race. So 97, cautious to begin with. Bit of contact up in front. We've still managed to hit the car in front of us despite being cautious. Drive into the side of that Lambo. We drive completely onto the grass, take out that Mercedes, drive into another McLaren beside us, and then accelerate across the track to take someone else out. Dear God. I mean, okay, the McLaren and the Mercedes here have hit each other, come across the left. The McLaren before that contact even happens, has lost it on the grass and has joined in on the instant. The Mercedes gets away with the contact. The McLaren, having secondary contact here, doesn't, so gets taken out. And then we've just slightly come across, not left enough space for this McLaren, who, if we go on board with their perspective, it's the number 77, has had to drive into the gravel just to avoid all the chaos here. Safely rejoins, and then, yeah, just has this McLaren. They tried to avoid, but it's too late at that point. Oh, dear God. And they, as little reversing as needed to rejoin the track, being as safe as they can be. Let's look up here. So we're going 3 wide here. Little tap there. Just didn't quite have enough steering lock. Ah, here we go, here we go. These cars here. Okay. Okay. This McLaren spots a gap, kind of nudges the number 7 out of the way to get through this gap, and then doesn't have the steering lock to not run in and spin the BMW. Spins it into the 98 Lambo. And then there's just not enough space here for the cars to avoid. 38, let's go back on board with them. They're trying to avoid it. They've not done good enough trying to avoid it. And then just converging lines as they come out of the incident. Yeah, blimey, I'll tell you this, I am glad I'm not stewarding this race, because there's quite a few people who would be getting told off. Yeah, we'll go back on board with 66. After have the hit from the McLaren. Do they can't? No. Right. Stopping in the middle of the track to RTG, not sensible either. Oh, the 666 is the one that typed in chat. Yeah, well, typing in chat is generally not allowed. There's always a rule about typing in chat, generally. I have to try and remember where... rules. No, they're server rules. Race rules, when a race has begun, drivers should not be using the in-game chat window. Yes, so 666 will be getting a telling off for chatting during the race. No matter how justified their frustration is, it is a rule because chatting using the in-game chat is distracting. So don't use it. And also, some communities decide, hey, we're going to post when they're live stewarding races, we're going to post every penalty in the chat. If a community does that, it's silly. Because generally those communities will also have rules, hey, don't use the in-game chat, but we're going to use it anyway. I don't get that. That is some very strange behavior. So, yes, we shall back out of this. and head to full screen as we will boot up Art of Rally before we end off the stream. Complete the daily event, have a little check up on where we stand in the weekly event. No worries, Geeky. I mean, it's always interesting looking to see what happened in a race afterwards. See what why did incidents happen? How dumb were people being? Just stuff like that. It is interesting. First, let's have a look at the weekly event leaderboard. See where we are. So we're currently in 52nd as it stands. If you didn't see on yesterday's stream, we completed the weekly event with a couple of mistakes, but they weren't massive mistakes. They could have been a lot worse. Yes, Zav, exactly. The race you don't see. Yeah. The weekly event. Let's have a little look at yesterday. We end up 31st. So we do. Let's see if we can improve on that today. We've got Group 3 in Japan, a 3.7 mile gravel stage. Using a Porsche. A Porsche kind of in safari trim, and unsurprisingly for Porsche, the rear end likes to swing around a bit. Being rear engined, of course. Porsche 911, I assume this is. Well, in quotation marks. Stage is going well so far, as we're about halfway through. Little corner cut there. Just gotta be careful not to let the rear end get away from us, as it can be very difficult to get back under control with the weight distribution. Especially as we get to a faster part of the stage here. How's it over the jump? Is alright. We slightly mispositioning on the grass off the landing, but we keep it under control. Nice and tidy through the little town section. Through the final corner and over the finish line. It'll be a 2:34.909. Let's see, that puts us 17th so far on the leaderboard. Top 4%, 12.5 seconds off the top time, which is pretty good. Happy with that indeed. But yes, nice tight stage. Nice car to drive that, especially when you keep it under control. I imagine it can prove quite difficult on some stages that are maybe a little more demanding. But with that said, that is going to be it for today's stream. Um, any last things I need to check? No. Um, yes, that is it. No streams over the weekend. Gonna be taking a break this weekend. Next week, we will be back. We've got streams already scheduled. Stream for Monday is the second round of the RCI Ferrari Challenge. That's taking place at Kailami, and um, as people have been starting to do a bit of practice, it's come up that it could be very wet. The practice server was flooded at one point today. So that could be a very interesting race. I always like it when we get a flooded track. Reminds me of a Porsche Cup race I did at Kyalami late 2022 where it was flooded. Um, I've got a clip of that race on my Twitter account if you scroll down a bit. Then on Tuesday we have a community race. Community that we took that we joined today, like Speed Racing, are doing a race against a couple of other groups, FRL, Formula Racing League, and HR, which is Harakiki. I'm butchering that pronunciation. Let's see, Harakiri Racing, um, who hosted yesterday's race, and FRL hosted some of the races we did over the Christmas and New Year's break. So all three communities we've all raced a part of, their communities are taking on each other. We're going to be representing LSR, Lightspeed Racing, to take part in. No Geeky. Usually these communities provide their own practice servers that have the exact weather conditions. So in that case, it's always best to do your practice on those servers because it's going to mimic what you have in the actual race. Or, well, mimic or give you an indication of what the weather could be if the randomness is quite high, which I believe it is for that Kailami race. Because when I joined the server to get the thumbnail you see on the scheduled stream, it was nice and sunny. So the weather could be anything at this point. But yes, what the weather will be, I'll have to tune into the stream to find out. So yes, that will be on Monday. Tuesday, we've got the community race. We're representing LSR. There's going to be 33 people, 11 people from each community. One of the communities has a very stacked lineup. And looking at the entry list, which I'm just going to bring up for myself. There is a certain Jaroslav Honzik, better known as Jardier, in the race. So I'll tell you this now, we're not winning that race. But we'll see how much slower we are than Jardier, as I've never raced him before. If you don't know Jardier, one of the more popular ACC streamers, and certainly a very fast driver, has taken part in the SRO esports series. So while I've never actually raced him, I have been stewarding races he's been taking part in. And I have given him penalties. Always fun giving streamers penalties. Of course, they were fair decisions. Before anyone accuses of biased decisions. Wednesday is going to be a day off next week. I I will paste it in chat. Yes, Zav, spot on. Yeah, let's go copy paste it from the entry list. But yes, as I said, Wednesday we're going to take off, go take a break. Thursday we'll be back with the second round of the Harakiri Classics, which is taking place at the Nürburgring, I believe. Let's see. yes, it is an Nürburgring for that, back in the Porsche. And then we've got the second round of this, thank God it's Race Day series from LSR next week. It is going to be at Misano next week. And then we have a big event on Saturday next week, the 20th. We have our 6-hour endurance race. I'm going to be taking part. No teammates, it's just myself doing the whole race. So the race starts at 3 p.m. UK time. Qualifying starts at 2:30. So stream will start shortly before quali. We'll be going for 6 hours in the race. We'll be here until after 9 o'clock UK. It's gonna be a long stream. It's gonna be a challenge, but I hope you'll join me, keep me company, as I will certainly need it for that length of time. But yes, I hope to see you all at hopefully one, if not most of the streams, if not all of the streams next week. As always, thank you, Geeky Zav, being around and chatting, to anyone else who's been lurking during the stream. I will see you all next week. Hope you all enjoy your weekend. Have a good weekend, and yeah, see you next week. Good if I get my button ready, which I never prepare. Goodbye.